Aloha, konnichiwa, hello. So today, to keep up with the theme of the Hawaiian month and part of the Hawaiian week that we were doing, I'm making Spam Musubi. Spam Musubi is a type of sushi that originates from Hawaii. It has a background from Japan. So Spam, as you can see, is the original Spam meat. They use it a lot in Hawaii. They use it in the McDonald's even serves Spam, which is kind of cool. They do Spam carvings. They have Spam competitions in Hawaii. So this is where it originated from. Musubi actually means rice ball in Japanese. So I'm going to be showing you how to make Spam Musubi. So you start with the rice, and I have about 3 cups of short grain rice that I've cooked off. It's basically what you would use for sushi rice. It's a short grain rice, very sticky, which is what you want. I did about 3 cups of raw rice and 3.5 cups of water. I would recommend cooking this in a rice cooker. Rice cooker is the best way to cook the rice. So you take the rice and you let it cool off to about room temperature. And then we're going to take our Spam, take it out of the can. And I'll show you a little trick to get the Spam out of the can. It's something that I learned. You just flip it upside down, you take the knife, poke a couple little holes, it lets the air out of the Spam, and then you can come right out. Sometimes it comes right out. There you go. And we're gonna save this can, and I will show you why we save this can. It's a really cool trick that I learned. So you have your Spam, looks like this. You're going to take your Spam, you're going to cut it lengthwise, not too thick. They actually make a Spam slicer, which is really cool. It looks kind of like a cheese slicer. You put your Spam in it and it has wires and it will slice it for you, which is a lot easier sometimes than doing this. So you cut your Spam like so, and then you want to turn on frying pan on to about medium-high heat. You want to put some oil in your pan. And what you're going to do is you're going to brown your Spam, so you're going to fry it a little bit. When you fry it, it's going to look like this. So you want it to be kind of brown and a little bit crispy. So we're going to fry the Spam. So put a couple pieces in here. Let it get all nice and fried. About 3 pieces in here. Probably can fit 3 in there. We'll set this aside. So as a lot of you might know, my background is in Japanese cooking. So I've actually made a lot of Spam Musubi in my background. I did it for catering events, for Hawaiian themed catering events, things like that. So you just fry it for maybe a couple minutes on each side. I'm just going to fry these really quickly, just as a demonstration. So usually you can use tongs, but I'm using chopsticks. So you can just flip them. I'm going to put my glasses on. Flip them until they get nice and brown. And the reason you want to do this is because you want them to be a little crispy. So you can do this on a flat top, you can do it in a frying pan. My fiance actually lived in Hawaii on the Big Island. He lived there for a year, and he told me that Spam is everywhere. Like I said, instead of having Egg McMuffins at McDonald's, they would have Spam, egg, and rice. So he still eats that to this day. He gets hungry for that. So you want to brown them pretty well, nice and golden brown. As you can see, show this to you, like a nice golden brown color. I'm going to take that one out so it doesn't burn. And then you just flip them. Turn the heat down a little bit so it doesn't burn. So this one looks perfect too, nice golden brown. Okay, let that get a little bit more golden brown. I'm leaving this one out. There you go. Alright, and then you just keep this on about a medium-high heat. And what we're going to do is we're going to make the sauce for the Spam Musubi. So it's 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of water. Turn this down a little bit. We have 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 tablespoon of white wine, but you would actually use sake, which is Japanese rice wine. They use it a lot in their cooking. And then 1 tablespoon of rice vinegar. One thing that the recipe doesn't call for that I like to add is I like to add maybe about half a tablespoon of sesame oil. I think sesame oil makes it taste really good. So you have it let it simmer in the pan. And then you take your 5 pieces of Spam, you put it back in there. And technically you're kind of making a little bit of like a teriyaki sauce in a way. So you put your Spam back in, and you let it cook. It doesn't take very long, probably about like 5 minutes. Just keep an eye on it because this can evaporate very quickly and burn your Spam. So you just let it sit and simmer in there until it absorbs all the liquid. You want to flip it through halfway. So we'll just let that cook for a little bit. When you do, it turns out looking like this. So it's nice and sticky and like has a different, completely different color. So I'm gonna let this kind of simmer for a little bit, and then I'll show you how to put the Spam Musubi together. So this is a little trick I learned, is if you want to make a very large musubi, you take your can of Spam, your empty Spam can, you take some rice, probably, I would say, maybe 1/4 of a cup, probably, of rice, about this big. And you mold it like you would sushi, and you put it inside your mold. You plop it in there like that, and then you press it down. Press it down, and then you cross your fingers that it will come out. And then, it turns out like this. It'll turn out the shape of the Spam. And you don't want it very thick. This is actually like a good width for it would probably be about that width. And then you take this, and then you take your Spam, and you put this on top like that. And then the best part is the nori. So I've taken a sheet of nori, and I've cut it in strips about this big. Nori is actually really thin toasted seaweed. It has a very good flavor. So this is how we do it. Just keep an eye on this. You take the Spam Musubi and you just wrap it around like that, and then you wrap it around the other side like that. And a little trick too. You take a little piece of rice, about that big, and you tuck it under your nori, and it acts like glue. So you can take this, and then to mold it more, just take your hand like this, and mold it around it, mold it around it, mold it around it, and you have Spam Musubi.
Wow.
So there's the finished product. So I'm gonna flip this a little bit. As you can see, it's starting to get nice, and like the sauce will actually thicken too. So you just keep an eye on it, and you like thicken it. I mean, you flip the Spam until it gets nice and sticky. Like I said, you don't want the heat up too high because it'll burn and it'll taste horrible. So you just let it cook. And another thing that you can do with Spam Musubi is you can put furikake on top. Furikake is a rice seasoning. It usually contains little pieces of nori and sesame seeds. It's really good. It's one of my favorite things to eat. So as you can see, it gets nice and sticky. Okay. And then we'll just take this out. And it's like, it changed color, and it's nice and sticky, almost like candy. So. And as you can see, a lot of the liquid has evaporated. Let me turn this off. A lot of the liquid is evaporated and got bubbly, and it's actually thickened and gotten sticky, and that's actually what you're looking for. So this is a really good piece. Would be like that. And then I would let it cool, because you don't want to handle it when it's hot. It'll actually melt the nori. And then you can also do a type of musubi where you take a sheet like this of nori. You take your rice, again, about 1/4 of a cup. Take your Spam canister, press that down in there. Be careful of the edges because these can be kind of sharp for the Spam container. And then just mold this with your hand a little bit. If you need a little bit more rice, that's fine. Mold it like this. So again, it's like the same thickness, kind of. And then you take your Spam, and if you want a lot of nori, you take this and you wrap it around. Take another little piece of rice as your glue. It's a little trick that I learned a long time ago. And you have Spam Musubi like this too, which is actually really good too. So thank you for watching, and hopefully you enjoy this. I will have a recipe added on to the trays for dinner tomorrow night of the Spam Musubi if you would like to make these at home. It's pretty simple, pretty easy. It's everything that you would have in the pantry. So hopefully you enjoy them, and you can bring a little bit of Hawaii to your room. So thank you.